happy Wednesday. I am Anne LaFollette, and most of you know me already, but in case you are new here, I am Anne LaFollette, and I'm a surface pattern designer and a creative entrepreneur. And I am live every Wednesday, pretty much come rain or shine, at noon Pacific time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern, and I'm super excited to see you here today. I see many of my fabulous friends who are here. Jean is here, and hello, Elizabeth. It's great to see you. Pauline is here from Wales. It's great to see Anita as well, and Janelle is here, and Lana is here from Camarillo, California. So Lana, you're gonna have to tell me, like, how far is that from San Francisco? My geography's not that great. And also we've got Brenda, and we have Judy, and we also have Sarah, who just won Employee of the Month. Sarah, congratulations. I just saw your post about becoming Employee of the Month. Does not surprise me at all. Congratulations to you. And Jen is joining us from my YouTube channel. Anna Grace is here from Florida. It's great to see you. And then Claire's here from Lafayette, which is not that far from Lafayette. Sorry, there's a Lafayette in California, but you are in Louisiana, I guess. So I'm in my living room, Sarah. So I have been cleaning out my parents' house. And so I'm sitting at my grandfather's beautiful teeny little desk that he used to have in his library, and it fits in the corner of my living room, and so that's where I'm broadcasting from today. And lots of you are here from the Eastern time zone, which is awesome, and Sochima is here as well. Super excited about it. Hi, Patricia. It's great to see you too. And Rita's here from Denver, and Jane is here from Kentucky. And Mexico City, I love that. I love the fact that you are here from Mexico City, Yadira, and super excited to see you all here, right? Super excited to see you all here. So I'm going to jump right in, and I wanted to start off by saying I'm excited to continue to talk about art, creativity, and surface design, because surface pattern design in particular is my passion. And for those of you who haven't taken my Doodles coaching week before, it starts next Wednesday. So I put the link to it in the news feed. You can see it. There's a big thing that says, if you haven't taken my Doodles coaching week, it starts next Wednesday, and here's your chance to learn how to make your first repeating pattern like this one. And I want to give a big shout out to Jane Foster, who actually is always teaching at this time frame, but she watches the replay immediately afterwards. And this is one of my very first patterns that I made into fabric. And then she is an incredible sewing teacher, has sewn her whole life since she was like 6. And she made this beautiful blouse from a sample that I gave her. I gave her a blouse that I really like, and then I gave her my fabric, and she made this gorgeous blouse. And it's my favorite blouse of all time now. And so I wanted to also mention her because today's topic is all about storytelling in our surface design work. And one of the things that is so amazing about it is that we actually can tell many of our stories through our surface design and our pattern design work or our illustration work. And Jane sent me a sweet note saying that this resonated with her a lot because one of the very first patterns that she made when she came into Doodles like 2 years ago, when she first found me and came into Doodles, and then she took my Academy program afterwards, one of her first absolutely gorgeous patterns was actually full of memorabilia from where she grew up in Seaton, which is in the UK. It's in the UK, and it's near a beach. And she designed this beautiful fabric and actually ended up turning it into a variety of different products, including like a tote bag. And it had, for example, the little beach huts that you use to change your clothes in. It also had the sort of hammock type chairs that you can carry down to the beach and sit in to be comfortable at the beach. She also drew some crabs and I think some lobsters and a variety of other kind of sea creatures. And she turned it into one of her very first repeating patterns when she was learning how to do this a couple of years ago. And she texted me because she said, that's exactly what I was trying to do, was to tell a story. It was storytelling through my surface design because these are all of these memories, fabulous memories I have from where I grew up. So tell me in the comments, have you, as you've been making, a lot of you are in my community, and so you actually do make a lot of repeating patterns. Tell me of an example that you have that you can think of right now where that pattern design does tell a story. There's kind of a narrative to it. And while you're thinking about that, I am going to actually I'm going to use another example because it comes to mind as well. And that is actually, and I know you're here, Judy. So Judy Hayes also made a really beautiful pattern that had very much of a narrative quality to it. And so Judy Hayes, I know you're here. Do you know which one I'm thinking of? It's related to Jane Foster. It actually was your beautiful pattern that you made that had all of the things that you use when you're sewing. It had a little bobbin, it had a little thing, a spool of thread, it had a pair of scissors, it had a variety of other like I think it had a needle and thread. And so it was the sewing notions. Exactly. It was your sewing notions. And it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And it definitely told a story, right? It told a story. And so Rogo said that one of the first ones was symbolic of her son's love of coffee and paper folding. So I made a cup of coffee and folded airplanes. Yeah, right? So this is such a great topic because we do frequently have some of our best ideas come from thinking about something in our life that we want to represent through our pattern work. And the blog this week goes into this in more detail. And so if you didn't read the blog yet, I will definitely share my screen to make sure that you know where to find it. All you need to do is go to AnneLaFolletteArt.com, which you should see on screen right now. Do you see it up here? It says AnneLaFolletteArt.com. And you land on the first page of my website and you can scroll down. I have 3 free guides here. You can download one of my free guides if you like. And then if you come back up to the top, the blog is listed right here on the right-hand side. And if you go to the blog, I write a blog every single week. Many of you were here last week when we did a little ChatGPT demo. And then today is all about the art of storytelling through surface design. And so there really are kind of 4 main components that I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit more. And that is understanding visual language and patterns, creating a narrative through your design elements, just like we're describing that both Jane Foster and Judy Hayes did. Also, how important color is in telling that story. And also your unique voice in pattern design, in pattern storytelling, because the combination of the narrative, the motifs you pick, and the color story all come together to help you tell that story effectively, right? To tell your story effectively. So I'm going to come back on screen so you guys know where to find the blog, and you can go read it if you haven't already. Just go to AnneLaFolletteArt.com and then click on the blog in the upper right-hand corner. And thank you, Anna Grace, who said she loves my blogs. And I love to write my blogs because there's always something really interesting to talk about when you think about surface pattern design, because the industry is huge, right? The industry is huge and there's so much opportunity. And so let's see. So who is this? This is probably someone who's watching from my, so Jean. Okay, cool. Jean, wonderful. This is Jean. And she says, where did you go? She says, I love the blog as it gave me such a new perspective in approaching a pattern. I immediately thought about growing up on Long Island and going to the beach. I pictured seagulls, the sand, and the smell of salt air, all of which could be communicated through color and motifs. That's exactly right, Jean. That's exactly right. And that brings to mind another great example that most of you know, because you know Susan Palmer, and Susan Palmer did a really beautiful design, surface design, that was also inspired by the sea. And she had seagulls in it, and she turned it into a gorgeous quilt because all of the patterns coordinated with one another. And so it's one of her beautiful signature quilts that came out absolutely beautifully. It came out beautifully. And then Anna Grace is saying, I remember Jones Beach on Long Island, especially the taste of the salty ocean. Exactly, exactly. And so Lana Danta is saying that she has difficulty with color stories. Is there an online source for current or suggested color stories? Yes. So Lana, you can go to color.adobe.com. So if you want to play around with color, I'll go to this website. It's color.adobe.com. And I will, hold on. I don't want this to be on screen. Sometimes this does some weird thing where I can't close it. Hold on. What's new? Coming soon. Suggest a feature. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I know I do this funny thing with my glasses because these glasses have the line for the bifocals too low on the glass, and so that's why sometimes I go like this. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go to color.adobe.com. And here, I'm just going to go backwards. It automatically went to create in the color wheel, but if you just put in color.adobe.com and hit enter, it takes you to this color wheel. And you have all of the different types of colors down this left-hand side. And you can play around by clicking and creating your own color palette by just moving these guys. And these are what's called the hex colors down below, and you can copy and paste these numbers into Adobe Illustrator if you want to use, for example, this particular color palette. That's the Create tab. And then if you go to the Explore tab, you can scroll down and see, well, what are they actually showing right now? And there's a whole bunch of different options right here. You can scroll through here. I think that I basically can just click this to go to the next one. Understanding color, a visual guide, building a color palette, how to create and use color combinations, how I create with color. This is a great, great resource, right? It's a really, really great resource, and it's just at color.adobe.com. And then what you can do is you can come down here and you can download it as a JPEG if you want. You can add it to your Adobe Illustrator library. And you can continue to sort of scroll down and see, wow, they picked these colors inspired by this image. Sometimes they don't include an image, but sometimes they do. And this is all basically, you can just keep going on to the next one, and it's an amazing resource. Right? It's an amazing, amazing resource. So bookmark it, right? Color.adobe.com, and then watch some of the, you can go to, they've got a summer option right here. So these would be very trendy colors for right now. Look at this great color palette right here with the swimming pool and the floaty. And so you can have super fun. And then look at, this is another really great one, very much more saturated colors, but another beach kind of scene. So that, Lana, will set you up for all kinds of fun to leverage color palettes that Adobe has already kind of created and that will work really well. And because there's a lot of methodology that's gone into it. And so, hello, Elizabeth. It's great to see you. I'm so glad that you were here as well. And you're coming over from my YouTube channel. Hi from my YouTube channel. I love that I can broadcast now to all of these different locations at the same time. And hi, Renee. I see you too. It's awesome. So color.adobe.com. Okay, so then let's talk a little bit more about how you might want to use ChatGPT to help you when you're thinking about narrative or storytelling. So tell me in the comments. I'll open up ChatGPT in the background, but what comes to mind when you think about, well, how might I use ChatGPT to help me with either narrative or with, if you're working on a collection and you have already created your hero pattern, which is kind of the star of the show, maybe you want to then dive into some sub-themes. And how might ChatGPT help you with that? So I am going to share my screen and we'll go to ChatGPT. And so I'm going to start a brand new thread, and I'm going to say, I'm creating, can you guys see that down there? Let me make sure you can see that where I'm typing. Sometimes I should bring this up higher so that it's above where the auto-generated, there are auto-generated captions, and so sometimes it's hard for you to see what I'm doing. There you go. Okay, so I'm creating a surface pattern design collection around the seaside. Can you help me with idea generation for motifs I could include? Please list 50 for me to get started. All right, so here it's going to give me 50 ideas to get started, and then I'm happy to ask it what colors are associated with the beach. We can do that next. But look at this, it's awesome. You can never run out of ideas now. You can use ChatGPT as this wonderful idea generator to help you continue to explore these different themes and use them to expand what you might have put into your design. Right? And so here are 50 ideas. Starfish, sand dollars, seashells of various types, right? The conch, I don't actually know what these are. I know what the clam and the conch are. Seagulls, sailboats, lighthouses, dolphins, whales, waves, etc., etc. Look, you've got beach towels and sandcastles, you've got pails and shovels. So there's some subsets in here where pails and shovels, for example, might be more childlike, and so you could pull out of this the ones that would be more appropriate for maybe some kids' pajamas, or some kids for some a whole bedroom set for kids. And then, of course, you could also absolutely make it more sophisticated. So message in a bottle, for example, seahorses, which is one of the very first pattern designs that Kathleen Lambert did, was with seahorses. I don't know if you guys remember her gorgeous seahorses, but I totally remember that. And then you've got ice cream cones and Adirondack chairs and bonfires and mermaids, and right? So look at all this. Puffer fish, it's amazing, right? It's amazing. It's an incredible time saver, right? And so then all of a sudden you have 50 ideas for what you could develop. And then you could say also that, you can say, these are great. I need to also think about my blender designs, which are very simple and usually use only one motif. They need to work with a more complex design. They need to work with a more complex design, but not overshadow it. Sometimes, you can say sometimes they are texture-like. Can you give me 10 ideas for a possible blender that works with the seaside theme. Let's see what it comes up with. So they help. So first of all, look, it's repeating kind of what the definition of a blender is, which is less focal patterns that help to balance and complement the more complex main patterns. Here are 10 ideas for seaside themed blender patterns. Sand dunes. Oh my gosh, these are great. These are great, right? Sand dunes, water ripples, right? So simple, irregular concentric circles or lightly wavy lines. A pebbly beach, right? A minimalist irregular dot pattern, wave lines, sea salt crystals, random geometric shapes to represent sea salt crystals, sea foam textures, that's a great one. Fish scales is also a great idea for a blender. Wind swirls, seagull feathers, and nautical stripes. So that's fantastic. Those are all amazing, amazing ideas, right? So I'm going to come back on screen. And I just thought it would be really fun today to combine thinking about narrative in your pattern design work. Also dive a little bit into color because color is such an important component. And so Lana, thanks for actually asking that question, because you can now go to color.adobe.com to find wonderful color palettes. And then I also wanted to use ChatGPT again to show you what an incredibly helpful tool it is. And that's all it is. It's just a tool, but it's a way for you to be able to really never run out of ideas for your pattern design work, right? And so Janelle said, wow, these are fantastic examples. They are fantastic examples. And so that thread that I just did with ChatGPT is always going to be there. It's called the seaside pattern. Seaside pattern motifs is what the thread is called. And so I can always go to, I can always go back to that and continue with that conversation, right? Continue with that conversation. So let's see. So you are also asking, let me see who this might be. I've been using ChatGPT. Kathleen Lambert. So Kathleen Lambert, I just mentioned your beautiful seahorses, which was one of your very first pattern designs when you came into my hashtag Anne's Universe. And so you said that you've been using ChatGPT for all kinds of planning and writing projects, but not to spark creativity. Thanks for showing us this, Anne. Yeah, so you can totally use it to plan your menus, right? You can use it to plan your menus for the week. You can use it to give you an exercise regime. You can use it to help you plan out your week, to say, listen, these are the 3 big projects I need to work on. Help me figure out how many hours I might need to associate with those projects, and then help me plan that out on my calendar. And then it can say, I think you should have 2 hours, 3 days a week to get that accomplished. And then you'll break it out and put it onto your calendar to actually get the work done. So it's an incredible tool, right? It's an incredible tool for all kinds of. You can totally ask it any question that you want, which is the really fantastic thing about it, because it, of course, is always available. And so it's awesome, right? It's an incredible tool. So I'm really surprised about how ChatGPT works. It's so much easier than you might have thought, right? It's a lot easier than you might have thought. And Janelle, yes, it could definitely help you deal with your husband's drawings. Yeah, because I know you have hundreds of them, right? You have hundreds of them. Okay. So does anybody have so Cheryl said, now I can see a real use for ChatGPT. Yeah, so sometimes it's hard to sort of think, well, how would I use it? I don't really know how I use it. So I just thought for the next couple of weeks, we can keep talking about it, and I can keep showing you how I'm using it, other ways to use it. Listen, the other thing I was thinking about the other day was frequently we want to set aside time for our art, right? We want to have that 15 minutes a day or that half an hour a day to really build up our capabilities and sort of to also make our creativity part of a daily routine so that we never miss it. We never miss out on continuing to move forward. And so ChatGPT can also be a great way for you to say, I want to do my own 30-day challenge. Can you give me 30 prompts that I can use that I can draw, 30 drawing prompts that I can use for the next 30 days so that I don't have to come up with them myself? And you could give it a little bit of a narrower focus. You could say, okay, I'm going to do my own 30-day challenge. It's going to be writing. It's going to be writing if you wanted to do something around writing. And I know that I just want to write for 15 minutes a day. And then you talk about, well, what's the topic that you want to be writing about? And but if it's creativity and drawing, you can say it's going to be a drawing challenge. And I'm going to do my own 30-day drawing challenge. It's going to be, we could keep with the seaside theme. And then there you go. You actually have 50 ideas and you don't have to do them all. You could pick 30 for your own 30-day challenge, right? Which is fantastic. So let's see. Pauline said, I used it to ask for help with my business blog. It asked me questions back for me to answer to help it understand what I wanted. Yeah, which is really great. So you can have this conversation with it and to ensure that it's actually going to give you back something that's helpful. And you said, exactly, I have all these details in my head and ChatGPT kind of makes some sense of it all. Yep. And Judy said, these sessions are so much fun. I love these sessions too. I feel like they're much more interactive, or they're really fun and interactive. And can we use it to teleport you to us? So that technology is not available yet. But Cheryl, you just never know. You never know whether or not that is going to be available and at some point in our lifetime, right? And all right, so you can totally replay it, and so you'll be able to watch the replay. So this is, let me see who this is. There's always a replay. And so Mary, don't worry, you can just watch the replay as soon as I finish. And I'm going to wrap up because I've already been talking for 25 minutes, and you guys are probably ready to let me to have me stop talking. Who's got questions? You got any questions? Let's keep talking about this. That would be so great, Cheryl. Exactly. And thank you, Pauline, for answering Mary that there's always a replay. And you get ChatGPT by just Google ChatGPT, and it will tell you how to get it. All right. And then this is also a very good piece of advice. So Rogo, thank you for sharing this. Setting limitations around creating art can actually help boost your creativity. So I wrote a blog post, oh gosh, probably last year, maybe even the year before, about how when I feel creatively stuck, the best way for me to get unstuck, and I know this is a bit of a different tangent, but the best way for me to get unstuck is to start playing with my art supplies, but only a limited number of my art supplies. And so maybe I'll pick 2 different colored pencils, and I'll say that the only thing I'm going to do today is something with those 2 colored pencils. It might also just be my fine liners, and I'm going to use 2 different nib sizes. And so I'm just going to work on something today that's using my fine liners, and I'm going to use 2 nib sizes so that it's really narrow, so that I'm not overwhelmed by too much choice. And all right, so then let's see. So Pauline Riley also put the link into the in here for you so you can find it. And so a Jacksonville, Florida visit should be on my next travel itinerary. Exactly. So when I map out where I'm going to do little what are they called? Meetups, I guess. Right? Meetups. Right? Have Anne as a hologram. Right? Have Anne as a hologram. I love it. Okay. So I'm going to let you go, but hopefully you found that helpful. And so, yes, so Elizabeth, it can be very helpful for you to limit your supplies in order to be able to create more. And then the last thing I wanted to do before I let you guys all go is I want to just share my screen to make sure that if you haven't taken Doodles before, I am offering my Doodles coaching week starting next Wednesday. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to go to here where you can learn more. This link is also at the very top of this broadcast. But you can also go to members.artwithann.com/DCW, which stands for Doodles Coaching Week, and then -FB, because you guys are all watching me on Facebook right now. But there's a cute little video about it. And then if you've always dreamed of putting your designs on fabric or wrapping paper, you can join my Doodles Coaching Week, and it only costs $10. And right, it's a super way to start, right? It's a super, super way to start. You can read reviews from people who've taken it before. We talk about surface design, but then we get into Adobe Illustrator. So you start with a little sketch. I teach you how to add color to it and then create a pattern from it. And it's the best hands-on training that you'll ever get for just $10. So you also can read more rave reviews, and then this is the schedule. It starts next Wednesday. You can read all the details here. And then, of course, there are 3 bonuses that you get. The first bonus is a private Facebook group. The second bonus is these beautiful downloadable step-by-step written guides, because the videos are great and my live teaching is great, but it's also wonderful to have a written document. And then troubleshooting support. You actually can send me your file during the coaching week if you run into any issues. So it's a value of $544 that you can get for just $10. So if you need a refresher, you can come and take it again. If you have never taken it before, it's the best way to get started. And I love teaching it. It's an incredibly dynamic week that we spend together. And you actually end the week with a file that you can turn into fabric like this to then make into a blouse or a shirt or a quilt. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So I will let you guys go. It's the best $10 you could ever spend, says Brenda. Thank you, Brenda. And I will see you guys next week, right? I'll see you next week. I always like to say in closing that I am Ann LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. So go out there and be creative, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.